Now, for our last speaker, Reverend Julius Collins. As an elected county legislator, you represent the people of your local district in the elevated area, as well as all the people of Ulster County. You were elected on a platform that included advocacy members of your community who struggle under the dual weight of poverty and racism. And could you share with us the ways in which you see that single-payer healthcare is both a social justice issue and an economic requirement for all the people of Ulster County? And any other thoughts that you may have. Thank you.
Well, I'm following some hard acts. They have been around the medical field for a little longer than me. They've been digging into people's problems a little longer than me. But I'm a legislator because I believe that people need help. I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor, and I've grown to the point to where I could not separate the two. I believe that people who know who they are and what they stand for need to stand up for what they stand for. In standing for that, I believe that when we talk about a single-payer system, when we talk about everyone having access to medical care, it's not should they, it's that they will, they should, they need it. They need it, why? Because I'm also a part of Ellenville Regional Hospital. Why? Because when I had my heart attack, I'm here because it was there. They surrounded me, figured out what was wrong with me, got me to St. Pete in time to be saved. The need for that hospital became a war cry for me. It became a war cry because we had people in our community that if you had to take them to Kingston or you had to take them to Middletown, there was no hope. So it needed to be there. Now, how can it treat the people that are there? The system that we're talking about is a means for it being able to do what it's supposed to do, because there's no one turned away, because there's everybody. You know how you're going to be able to pay for the equipment that you have, how you're going to be able to pay for the services that you provide. You know that because the system says that you put in place to where there is no one that isn't covered, that the payment is coming regardless. With that, you have a situation to where all of your citizens are able to go to the doctor when they get that cold, when that child is coughing and croaking and mama doesn't want to take them because they can't afford the copay or they can't do this, that, and the other. That child doesn't suffer anymore. When that senior citizen is sitting in his wheelchair and can't roll out the door or won't roll out the door because he's been to the emergency room 3 times in the last week, you're able to take them and not fear that they won't be treated. But they're just going to say that he's just a habitual whatever. The thing is that when we put a system in place that says every man, every woman, every boy and girl has the need, has the desire, and has the right to be treated. We're living in a country right now where we're fighting. We're fighting to come to the conclusion that all of us are men and women. All of us are people. And this system allows us one more step because it takes out of the way the things that separate us right now. The things that separate us are our race, our money, our skills. They're all reasons for us to be separated. This system is just one more step in removing some of those things that make us at least feel equal on one point, where we're able to go and be treated. I know I can go to the doctor. That's a beautiful feeling. And it's something that all of us, and we talk about the government, we talk about this, but it begins right here. It begins right here because as we grow together, as we understand that there isn't as much difference between us as the world tries to say, then we step out and we make it known that we need, not they need, not she needs, he needs, but we need. And as we stand together, we're able to influence. Because it all comes down, I was just elected to the legislature. But it's something, because when it all comes down, people put me there. People work to get me there. People that don't look like me, people that don't think like me, but people who understood what I've tried to stand for. That's how I got there. That same principle needs to be applied when we talk about this medical system, when we talk about putting something in place that services all of us. That same principle needs to put in. And it begins at the grassroots. I mean, we can push, we say we need one more vote. Well, our effort needs to be that we're out there pushing for 3 more votes. We're out there pushing for 5 more votes. Because when it gets there, we want them all to understand that this is something that the people want. It's something that the people have realized the need for, and the people are not going to back up. As long as we allow them to think that we're content, they go their own way. As long as we allow them to think that we're gonna put them back, regardless of whether they did anything for us, they go their own way. I don't want to get political, but I can't help it.
You go right ahead.
We have spent
Very
enough
understanding.
time. We have spent enough time re-electing folks that have done nothing for you.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to make it
Here,
known
here.
that if I look at the record and you have done nothing for me, you've done nothing for my community, nothing for my people, then I'm going to make sure that you don't go back. And I don't care whether it's me, the next guy, whoever. If I don't do what I need to do for my community, then my community needs to know that and put me out. And I believe we need to get to that point, and when the grassroots folks realize that we are together, it's not about me being black, it's not about you being Hispanic, it's about us being together. We are all human beings. And as a preacher, my Lord asked Peter, do you love me? Peter said he loved him, and when he said he loved me, he said, feed my sheep. He asked him again, do you love me? He said, feed my sheep. He asked him again, and Peter got upset because it's time to prove that love. He said, again, he told him to feed my sheep. And when it all comes down to it, every one of us has a purpose. The purpose is to take care of our brothers and our sisters, to take care of each one of us. If you're taking care of me and I'm taking care of you, then we both make it. With the system that we have, there are people falling off the cliff. And they're falling off the cliff because not enough of us has shown enough concern to get them there. So it's more important today than ever that we show a concern that helps all of us stand. Gave the example of the Good Samaritan. Awesome. Because he took his eyes off himself and went to help a man he did not know. We know our neighbors, we know our friends, we know those in our communities that are struggling and can't go to a doctor right now, can't go to a hospital right now. I believe that if we enact this New York Health Act, that it will provide that opportunity for all of our community. And I believe what it will do is make us stand out in this country as a state that cares. And I believe that if we show that there'll be others following behind us.
That's right.
So that's where we need to be. We all need to leave here with a charge to go out and convince somebody else to stand up for this act. If we convince them and they convince somebody else, pretty soon we're all in it, and there's no place for those that would go against it to run. Because everywhere they turn, they'll run into somebody that's taking care of God's people.
Thank you.